Hello and welcome to the Brian's Got the Game. I am Brian. Today, I got a game called Adventureland. Adventureland is a 2-to-4 player strategy game by Wolfgang Kramer and Michael Kielsing, and published by HABA. In this game, players are moving their adventures through vast forests, rugged mountains, and rich cities to dominate the country. However, danger awaits in the fog, and only the bravest adventurers will survive. Adventureland comes with 3 different adventures you can play, each with slightly different rules and scoring conditions. So, let's check it out, and I'll show you how to pick up medicinal herbs, how to avoid the evil river sprite, and how to defeat the fog creatures in Adventureland. To set up, place the game board in the center of the table, give each player the meeples of their color and their cube, and you place the cubes on 0, and meeples 1 on each. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and A, B, C, D, E. So, I'll set this up for 3 players. Okay, so please note, in a 3-player game, you take the tokens off of 5 and E. Same with a 4-player. Okay, then you remove 5 of these companions, and then you put the rest of them nearby. I'm going to put these here. And then you also remove 5 of these swords. Then you shuffle the terrain cards, and then place these to the side. Then you place the fog creatures, the herb tokens, and these gold tokens also next to the board. You also place the dice. These are for attacking. We'll go over that later. And also keep the water sprite token nearby. Okay, to continue setup, before you start, you flip over 8 terrain cards and place these. So, this means that you take a sword and put it on E4. So that's 1. I6. So this is a fog creature. So it goes on I6. Flip it over to level 10, 5 points. Now this doesn't count as one of our 8. So we've still only really done 1. D2. Second one. G1, this is an herb. You keep it face down along with the swords. Fog creatures you leave face up. So that's 3. D9, so this is gold. So you go D9. Gold is always in the river, so you take the water sprite and place it on the gold. You can't move through the sprite, and you can't. This water sprite is bad news. He's an evil water sprite. So that's 4, A10, 5, K8, this is a companion, 7, J5. So, if we were playing the game right now, the water sprite would move through this river area and kill anything in this area. So that could be companions with your adventurers, or just your adventures. J5 is your 7, and finally 8, H7. Man, we've got some gold out here. So this adds a lot of variability to the game by starting it different each time, and then since this is shuffled, later in the game, different cards will come out and you have no idea. Sometimes some swords are not pulled out, sometimes some herbs are not pulled out, and then sometimes some fog creatures are not fought. Okay, so then, at this point, you would choose one of these 3 scenarios and then go over scoring, aim of the game, and final scoring, and then some special rules, depending on which scenario you play. Now, I'm just going to briefly reference these because I'm not going to specifically teach how to play each one, because they're each different in their own way, but we'll go over the basics of moving and main rules of scoring. You are now ready to begin. Okay, so, on a player's turn, they do 2 things. First, they flip over 2 terrain cards. So, they take sword on E2 and gold on G7. A lot of gold out there. Now, it is, let's say, the green player's turn because they're in front. They can move 1 meeple as far as they want, and then move the same meeple as far as they want again. The other option instead is to move one meeple as far as they want, and then another meeple as far as they want. Now, if you move onto a space with one of these on it, you flip it over and you get it. So this is a level 3 sword. Now, depending on which scenario you're in, it can either add points to your score, and it always adds fighting ability. So the green player now has 3 swords and 2 herbs. Now it's the next player's turn. So purple, they get to flip over to F1 and G3. Okay, so now notice that when you're moving meeples, you can only move right and down. You can never, ever, on any circumstance, move up or left. So this guy, he will never be able to go any farther up or any farther to the left. Purple's turn, and he's going to move this player here. So you can move through other people's meeples, it's just that you can't stop on the same spot. So purple gets this sword, the blank sword, and they're going to move the same guy down here and get this other sword, and it's a 1. So now, black player's turn. J1. And G9, fog creature. Level 10. So now, since fog creatures don't count, you get to pull another card. Herb on D1. Okay, so this player doesn't care about the herbs or the swords, so he's just going to go straight for the companion. And then you keep the companion here. Now, sometimes on scenarios, you get bonus points for these. You gotta, and then he's going to go again, and he's going to go get this gold. Play continues until, let's say, a player fights a fog creature. Let's say that this green player ends up going down here and fights the fog creature. So, fighting. When you fight, you decide the number of swords you want to use. So they get 1 die. 4. We still need another 6 to beat it. So you add 1 for your guy. 4 plus 1 is 5. Plus 3 is 8. And then they're going to use their herbs. And that's discarded out of the game. That is 10. So they defeated the fog monster. The creature, it doesn't have to exactly get 10. You can go over. So now they get this, and it's worth 5 points at the end of the game. On one of the scenarios, it's double. If they would have lost, they lose their sword and their guy and is out of the game. But since they beat him, they get the victory points and their fog creature head on their wall. With your gold, you can either discard it and add 1 to your strength, or you can discard it and re-roll your die, but you have to stay with it is. Now, if it goes down, too bad, so sad. If it goes up, hooray. Play continues until all of these guys they're out of the stock. Either they've died, or they're placed, or in little groups and teams. So these guys are all gone, and these swords are all on the board, collected, or in players' stashes, or destroyed. That triggers the end game. It's one last round for all players. So, like I mentioned, in the scenarios, it has special scoring for each scenario. Then you add up the points. The player with the most points wins. That's how to play Adventureland. Okay, so I got my dad here for a parent's opinion. So, Dad, what do you think of Adventureland?
I really like Adventureland. When we first stopped at the HABA booth and they were explaining it to me, I saw it. The board looked beautiful. And they quickly explained about the movement, how you can only move down and to the right. And I thought, that seems kind of cool. We'll check it out. But it is awesome. It scales well, plays great with 2, all the way up to 4. I was really worried that 4-player, you were just going to have half as many turns.
Yeah.
But the game is such that the board replenishes every turn. So no issues there. It plays great 2, all the way up to 4. and it was really cool. I like how you have your 3 adventures.
And then they're coming out with an expansion with more adventures.
Yep, and a couple other little bits. So there's definitely a lot going on, and they can grow and build Adventureland.
Yeah. So components, you've got these really cool meeples. So they're taller than normal meeples.
I don't know. I didn't measure them. Did you measure them?
No, they just look taller.
They might be fatter.
They look taller.
I don't know.
Okay, there's more wood in them.
There's a lot of meeples.
There are a lot of meeples. So
The
you've
sprite,
got
the river sprite
so
is
the
big.
river sprite's big, and then the dice are wooden.
The dice are big.
And the meeples. There's a lot of them. There's a ton of silver ones, and then a bunch for each player.
Yep, and then a bunch of little cardboard bits.
For the swords and the herbs and the gold.
Yeah, so it's a big box game, and they fill it chock full of stuff.
Yep.
So they did a good job with
They
all the
did a
components.
great job with the components. And then the carts are nice.
Yep.
So the artwork, like you said, we walked up to the HABA booth and we saw that game. We want to learn that one. Beautiful board. It's it looks like they drew like a nice landscape with forests and mountains and cities, and then they put a grid over it so you could know where you move.
Yep.
It looks just beautiful.
Yeah, and the box art is really
the
cool
box
too.
art is awesome, and then each area has its own like stuff, and then all the swords kind of cool, and then the herbs, depending on what how many there are, there's more herbs on there.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
didn't notice that. So on
like
the
if
4 herb, there's more
There's
than
more
if there's
than
2?
if there's 2, and the 3 and 1.
Interesting.
But
Very
the swords
cool.
are exactly the same.
See, those are the details that really stand out, although I didn't notice. He noticed.
You're mean. So strategy. So it has a lot of replayability in this game. There is a lot of replayability because all these cards, they can come out in all different orders, and then the different scoring conditions for each different scenario. So you have different scenarios, and then I'm pretty sure there's like a 1 in like infinity chance of getting the same deck again.
Yeah, when we were playing it, I thought, well, if you play the adventure over and over, it could get boring. But
the
like
cards come out
but like you
differently.
said, yeah, before you begin each game, you flip over 8 cards, and so that's how you start. And then after the beginning of your turn, you do 2 more. So you're right.
And then
It pops up all over the grid, and that's different every time you play.
And then, whenever you put out the herbs and the swords, they're different amounts. So that could change it too.
Yep.
And then, of course, the gold comes out differently, and then the river sprite kills you differently.
Don't go in the river to get the gold. It's not worth it.
Well, unless that entire string is already taken.
Yeah, so there's a lot of strategy and a lot of replayability in this one.
Definitely. So, and then, yeah, the strategy, moving it up, down, down and right.
Yeah, you got to know when you're going to make your
And
guy
then you
move
can
because
push
you can't
a
go back,
risk.
right?
You can kind of push a risk, move over that one guy, and then if another one gets there, oh well, you missed him.
Yeah, I will say that the rules
Are a bit confusing on moving the
with
meeples.
movement. Yeah, we played several times.
We played it wrong like 2/3.
Yeah, it took us till the 3rd or 4th time till we finally clicked and thought, oh, this is how the movement is supposed
You
to
mean
be.
it clicked? I've been telling you the same thing, and you
Okay, it
kept-
clicked with him.
and then you wouldn't
It
believe
didn't
me.
click with me. So that is kind of my only one critique
On this
of the
game,
game.
it
that
was hard to understand.
The rules were a little bit hard to
But
understand.
mainly just on the moving was the part that we got confused.
Yeah.
So the awesome components, phenomenal artwork, a lot of strategy, and it's easy for kids. So Adventureland, check it out by HABA. Thank you for watching. Brian's Got Game. Please like us on our Facebook page. Send us a tweet at Brian's Got Game. Visit our webpage, briansgotgame.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Brian. This is my dad. See you next time.